Every day you eat one egg, your child eats one, and even your grandchild eats one. A quick calculation shows roughly 2 billion people consume them every morning. So how can the production be so massive? How did our ancestors improve the yield? Before getting to the answer, please give me a minute for an ad. Could you like and share my content? This truly means so much to me because I'm a single mom raising 2 little kids and I need the income from this YouTube job. Thank you very much. Now let's get started. But the truth is, nature is never that generous. The abundance on your breakfast plate is not an agricultural miracle. It is a brutal biological hijack. Today, when you crack a shell without a second thought, ignoring the chicken that made it, serving the inside scrambled, fried, or poached, or dropping it into boiling water, do you ever wonder, it just appears in the carton. The hen will lay another tomorrow. And the day after that, across the planet, mankind accepts this. Nobody asks why. Now, look outside at the wild finch nesting above your door. She lays 4 this season. Then, her reproductive organs shut down completely until next year. All wild creatures breed based on seasons. That system is a perfect design, refined over 150 million years, dating back to ancient feathered reptiles. Then mankind arrived, and we shattered it. The story starts in the damp, shadowy forests of Southeast Asia. This is where the ancestor of every backyard chicken on the planet still lives today. The red jungle fowl, Gallus gallus. The roosters carry stunning iridescent plumage, while the hens are deliberately drab to vanish from predators in the leaf litter. Crucially, these wild ancestors breed on a schedule dictated entirely by the sun. When spring arrives, increasing light enters the creature's eye, traveling through its thin skull to reach photoreceptors buried deep inside the hypothalamus. This acts as a biological solar meter, triggering a cascade of hormones from the pituitary gland. An egg begins to form. They lay a small clutch, maybe 5, and then their reproductive system powers down. This is natural selection at its finest. Evolutionary logic ensuring chicks hatch when food is abundant. But roughly 8,000 years ago in Thailand and Vietnam, humans began keeping these wild animals. Initially, it was for ritualistic cockfighting, or as reliable morning alarms. Then farming societies noticed a massive biological loophole. The ancestral bird is an indeterminate layer. If you remove a shell before the clutch is full, the brain never receives the tactile signal to stop. The ovaries keep recruiting new follicles. The hen keeps laying, perpetually waiting for a fullness in the nest that never comes. Early people aggressively exploited this glitch. They didn't understand the complex internal mechanism. They simply knew that if they kept taking the yield, the creature kept making it. This accident of domestication changed everything. What followed was one of the most relentless selective breeding campaigns in agricultural history. Not sophisticated genomic mapping. Not laboratory-guided gene editing. Just the simplest, most brutal form of artificial selection imaginable. You keep the chicken that produces an egg for your breakfast. You slaughter the one that stops. Generation after generations, early people across the planet applied this bloody filter. A bird that carried random genetic variants for larger ovaries or faster follicle maturation survived. A bird that waited for spring did not. This relentless pressure fundamentally altered the DNA of the species. But the exact mechanism remained a mystery until a landmark 2010 study by Swedish biologists. They scanned millions of base pairs, looking for the specific mutation that separates a modern farm machine from its wild ancestor. They found it. A single gene called TSHR, the thyroid-stimulating hormone receptor. In the wild creature, the TSHR gene acts as a biological lock. It links the reproductive cycle to the lengthening light of April. The key to that lock is sunlight. But the genetic mutation they discovered effectively broke that lock. In domestic hens, the system no longer waits for the days to grow long. The hormonal cascade can fire in any season, completely overriding a natural timer that had governed avian reproduction for millions of years. The calendar was destroyed. One gene, One mutation, that is all it took to sever a connection that predated the dinosaurs. The biological clock was permanently shattered. The sheer metabolic cost of this broken system is terrifying. A single chicken egg takes approximately 25 to 27 hours to form inside the body. Almost 20 hours of that cycle is dedicated entirely to constructing the hard calcium shell. To sustain this relentless daily output, commercial layers have evolved a specialized spongy reserve called medullary bone. But when the shell gland needs more calcium than her diet provides, the creature's body turns on itself. It begins dissolving the mineral matrix of her own structural framework, pulling ions directly from her keel bone and legs just to keep manufacturing shells. If her body were a bank account, she is forcibly withdrawing 20 times her total life savings every single year. The physical toll is absolute devastation. Research shows that a vast majority of commercial layers suffer severe keel fractures by the end of their first cycle. Their chests are literally crushed from the inside out. They continue laying through the agony because the hypercharged hormonal drive overrides every instinct of self-preservation. Furthermore, running the ovaries at maximum capacity without the ancestral seasonal rest leads to rampant cancer and fatal reproductive tract infections. A wild jungle fowl in a healthy natural environment can live for a decade. But inside these commercial facilities, a highly engineered layer reaches the end of her economically useful life at barely a year and a half. Her organs are failing. Her skeleton is porous. She is labeled a spent bird, discarded to make room for the next generation. The biological directive is unyielding. The yield comes first. Her own skeleton comes second, always. Enter the modern industrial laying facility. Here, ambient temperature is strictly maintained between 18 and 24 degrees Celsius, ensuring maximum shell production efficiency. The nutrition is mathematically calculated, heavily supplemented with protein. But the most insidious weapon is light. Commercial hens are bombarded with 14 to 16 hours of artificial illumination every single day. The industry has constructed a permanent, inescapable spring deep inside their brain. The biological clock is deceived into believing it is constantly April. Unlike domesticated dogs or cows whose reproductive cycles were merely stretched by humans over generations, this avian species had its cycle entirely severed from the Earth's rotation. We took a descendant of the feathered theropod dinosaurs from the late Jurassic period and broke it. The same reproductive system that once deposited crystalline calcium in a sandy Mongolian nest 150 million years ago is now forced to run endlessly on a wire floor. Tomorrow morning when you prepare your breakfast, look at that carton. Whether you prefer them scrambled, fried, poached, or boiled in water, remember the terrifying cost. We reached into the oldest biological machinery of another creature, older than the continents themselves, and rewired it from the inside out to serve human greed. Is this a triumph? The system is broken. The animal is exhausted. The eggs are everything.